Coming up on Mountain News this morning, those with an Eastern Kentucky Sheriff's Department detail the kind of training they offer so the community can be prepared in case of an active shooter situation. And a dark cloud remains over Churchill Downs after the deaths of 4 racehorses, breaking the hearts of their trainers and fans of horse racing.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Chas Gayhart. It is 5:32 on Thursday, May 4th. And I'm used to saying Monday, Brandon, but I've switched it up. So
switching it up.
Yes. So now we get to end the week together.
Exactly. So there you go. Not next week though. You're
True.
abandoning me on Friday. That's what I've been told. That's okay though. We'll have Dakota back on Friday next week. But all right, let's take a look and see what's going on across the region this morning. And it's fairly calm, fairly quiet, fairly chilly out there. Some spots in those low to mid to upper 30s and most spots in the low to mid to upper 30s. So just keep an eye on things downtown Whitesburg. No major issues out there this morning. They're sitting at 37, 32 in Jonesville, 33 Clintwood and Grundy, 34 in Irvin and Williamsburg, 35 Manchester and Middlesboro this morning. The only 40s left, Monticello, Jackson at 42 and Logan at 41. Your planner for today, a chilly start to the day. Man, to go a little bit colder on those temperatures there. Trying to hit at 36 and then we'll see those temperatures climb to about 67 this afternoon. Mainly sunny skies. Can't rule out a few late day clouds though. Sunset tonight at 8:26. Chas?
Thank you, Brandon. Well, a man accused of a deadly rampage in an Atlanta medical facility has been arrested. One local sheriff's department has been training members of their community on similar active shooter scenarios for years. WYMT's Keaton Hall has more from Floyd County.
With reports of gun violence seemingly in the news every week, one Eastern Kentucky Sheriff's Department has been doing their part to prepare the community.
How it sounds, how to recognize gunfire, and then how to react to it, and then if they have to use deadly force, how to apply it, and then they get to see it in pretty much real time.
The Floyd County Sheriff's Department has offered simulated active shooter training for more than 5 years, allowing security personnel from local churches and businesses the same training officers receive.
You interact with the bad guy and you get to calm him down, or you can see what makes him irritated and react different. And like I said, at times you have to use deadly force, or sometimes you use no force.
Deputy Powers tells me the system has more than 1,000 scenarios to train with. The gun is actually a laser that interacts with the screen, providing real-time feedback.
Last year, Deputy Petrie and I were the instructors last year. I think we had over 100 and some last year that we put through, not counting law enforcement. This is just lay people.
Sheriff Hunt says it's all about keeping the public prepared.
Not to say that it's likely that it's going to happen, but there is a chance it could happen. It happened to us in Allen, Kentucky. We never dreamed that would happen. So obviously it can happen in a church, it can happen in a school, it can happen in our businesses, and we're seeing it in Louisville, we're seeing it in places all around us.
Trying to keep their community ready as gun violence continues across the country. In Floyd County, Keaton Hall, WYMT Mountain News.
If you're located in Eastern Kentucky and your church or business is interested in the training, you can call Deputy Powers at 606-886-8965. Well, a man has been indicted for murder following a fire last week in Knox County. State police say the remains of 64-year-old Ricky Campbell were found in a home in the Woolham community. Officials say he was shot to death. A grand jury returned an indictment against Harvey Hood for murder, arson, and theft. Hood was also taken to the hospital to be treated for severe burn injuries. Police in McCreary County are searching for a missing man. 63-year-old Raymond Owsley went missing from the Cumberland Manor Rest Home in the Parkers Lake community back in March. Family members say he was a resident at the facility. He is 5'8" and weighs 197 pounds and has brown hair. If you have any information on where he might be, you're asked to call the McCreary County Sheriff's Office at 606-376-2322 or dispatch at 606-376-9117. The Kentucky Derby is set for Saturday, but there's a dark cloud over Churchill Downs, where officials are calling the recent deaths of 4 horses unacceptable and troubling. The 4 racehorses have died in separate incidents, all within a 5-day stretch. Churchill Downs says 2 horses died after suffering musculoskeletal injuries, and 2 other horses, both trained by Seffi Joseph Jr., suddenly died since the start of Kentucky Derby week, April 29th. Joseph said he is shattered and that the odds of 2 deaths is in the trillions. Churchill Downs says it was, quote, working with regulators to conduct swift and thorough investigations, end quote. Kentucky Derby decorations are out all across the Commonwealth. As this is the week, all eyes are on the Bluegrass State. Painted wooden horses have been set out around Richmond's downtown district. However, the city is having to put them away because several have been stolen. Chad Hedrick has more on the thefts.
As thousands of visitors from around the world come to the Bluegrass State for the Kentucky Derby, communities around the Commonwealth are showing the pride that comes with this time of year.
Being in tourism, you know that the Kentucky Derby is Kentucky's time to shine.
Around town in Richmond, the city has put up these painted wooden racehorses to get everyone excited for Saturday.
And I got a lot of text messages from friends, and we got a couple phone calls here at the office about people said, I just love seeing those around town.
But not everyone is treating the decorations like the champion thoroughbreds the art represents. Visit Richmond says there have been 4 instances since Sunday morning where people have stolen the horses. 2 were caught on camera.
The one video of the large group of folks that they're laughing and joking and think that it's really funny, and I understand that when we're all young we do things, but we try really hard to beautify our city and we try really hard to make things look nice.
The horses were donated to Visit Richmond by the local hospice center after a derby event several years ago. The horses were painted by local high school students. For Visit Richmond, they're just looking to get the horses back.
We all make mistakes as youngsters, and if they would just please bring those back to us, we would greatly appreciate it. Nobody's going to face jail time here.
That was Chad Hedrick reporting. Last year was the first time the city put the pieces out, and leaders say they had no issues. Those with Visit Richmond say they are hoping the thieves will hear the sentimental side to the story and bring the statues back. A man from Louisville has become quite an expert on the Derby. John Sutton Jr.'s love for horse racing started at about 8 years old. He says he remembers listening to the Kentucky Derby on the radio in 1939 and immediately fell in love. So the next year, he begged his father to take him, and the rest, as they say, is history. Sutton will be attending his 84th Run for the Roses this Saturday.
I just fell in love with doing that, and like people go to concerts today, there wasn't no such thing as that then, right, to any degree. And I just thought that was my cup of tea, and so I look forward to it each year.
That love turned into an obsession for Sutton. He has plenty of memorabilia at home to back that up, from mint julep cups to lapel pins to tickets and programs. The TSA is expecting thousands of travelers in the Commonwealth this weekend. Members of security at the Bluegrass Airport say it is important to know what is allowed and what is not if you're flying to the event. They say Louisville's Muhammad Ali Airport is expecting a record 18,000 travelers to fly out after Derby Day. In Lexington, they are expecting a 10% increase compared to last year's numbers of passengers.
Almost every seat on aircraft is going to be full, so it's going to be about as much as the airport can handle.
TSA has a digital tool that shows you what items are allowed and which are prohibited. You can find that on its website, tsa.gov. While many Kentuckians are focused on the upcoming Derby, others are gearing up for the coronation of King Charles III. People around the world will sit in front of their televisions for the ceremony, but for 6 Kentucky friends, they will be there in person. Mariah Congido was there to catch their excitement before the flight.
With tiaras fastened in their hair and bags and passports in hand,
it's awesome for us to all go together.
The 6 best friends are on their way to see the royal family turn the page on a new chapter.
They want a crowd. This is a big event for them, and they want the world to celebrate, and we'll celebrate for them and with them.
A spectacle Betsy Wilt says she remembers watching when she was in the 4th grade.
I can remember sitting in the floor in front of that TV watching the coronation of Queen Elizabeth. So here I'm going to be in the streets watching the coronation of King Charles.
The hours-long trip across the pond has become somewhat of a tradition for the friends.
We went to Kate and William's wedding, Harry and Meghan's wedding, and the Platinum Jubilee.
It was after the Jubilee that Brenda Pruitt felt perhaps even more love for the royal family. She painted this portrait of Queen Elizabeth II in honor of the Jubilee and mailed it to Buckingham Palace.
She died 6 days after she received the painting, but I did get a letter from her thanking me. So that was exciting.
The friends say this was all the more reason they knew they would stand with the crowd of thousands outside of Westminster Abbey on Saturday.
The British know how to do pomp and circumstance, and no one does it better.
Once that he is coronated, the sound is deafening. It's just so exciting to be there.
That was Mariah Conjito reporting. You can watch CBS News coronation coverage on Saturday morning beginning at 5 o'clock on WYMT. And just ahead this morning, today Carrie Fisher will finally receive her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on the day dedicated to the series that brought her into the worldwide spotlight.
And the sun will be up soon and temperatures will climb today. How long will our break from the rain last? I'll have the latest in about 3 minutes.